Germany to force internet providers to hand over data, passwords of people accused of hate speech. Accused of hate speech. Accused. Oh boy. This article is from Breitbart. Angela Merkel's government is preparing a new bill that will force internet service providers, ISPs, to hand over data, including passwords, of those accused of engaging in hate speech online. Minister of Justice Christine Lambrecht, a member of the Social Democrats, SPD, is preparing the bill, which will force service providers, email hosts, online retailers, and others to give the government the usernames, passwords, IP addresses, and more of suspects, MDO reports. And I thought Britain was bad, with police investigating people's tweets for hate speech. But Germany is taking things to a whole other level, a whole new level of invasiveness and government overreach. Again, another attack on free speech and on citizens' rights to privacy. Lambrecht was slammed by many over the proposal, with Hamburg's data protection officer, Johannes Kaspar, calling it an attack on privacy. The fight against the ugly phenomena of right-wing extremism and hate crime apparently acts as a door opener for a comprehensive expansion of state control powers, he warned. What will be deemed as far-right extremism and hate crime will be entirely up to the German government to decide, of course. And let's be honest, what's called right-wing extremism is usually just speech that's critical of mass immigration. The German minister defended herself and the bill, claiming that the passwords and data would only be requested as part of a court order and only in serious cases. But what exactly is a serious case? What would qualify as a serious case? It is not a question of asking for passwords en masse. It is completely wrong representation and not at all the point and purpose, she said. Populist Alternative for Germany AfD politician Joanna Katar said the proposed legislation was a fight against the free internet and argued it would be used to silence citizens critical of the German government. The far-left Die Linke agreed with the AfD, accusing the government of setting up a surveillance state. Exactly. It appears more and more that several EU nations are looking at China as the model for how to develop a big brother society of mass surveillance. Don't you just love how a massively powerful government can operate with complete autonomy and just decide at will, without any consultation with the citizenry, to introduce a major new piece of legislation to completely infringe upon their privacy rights? But don't worry, it's all just about keeping society safe. All you have to do is sacrifice more of your freedom in order to have a little bit more security, right? Germany already has one of the most draconian sets of laws concerning hate on social media, including approving legislation imposing fines of up to 50 million euros on social media companies who do not remove hate content, whatever that is, in what the government considers a timely manner. The German authorities are also known to engage in large-scale raids of citizens accused of spreading hate speech online, with a 2016 raid seeing 60 homes searched across 14 states. If you were an alien from another planet and you came down to Earth and you read about a story like this, you would presume, understandably so, that some human beings are effectively like cattle and property of governments and politicians, because an alien would certainly deduce that the vast majority of humans appear to be controlled by a small group of elite humans at the top of a hierarchical structure. For example, nobody voted for property taxes, but the government brought them in against our will. So this is a tax that you pay for just owning a house or an apartment. Now, it doesn't matter if you pay off the mortgage and you have the deed of your home in your possession. If you don't pay the property taxes, you'll be fined by the government. And in some countries, you can lose your property. Now, what this means is that you don't really own your property, because the state basically believes that it owns your property and that it's essentially leasing it back to you on an annual basis. You're just the tenant and they're the landlord. So if your property rights can be seized through such stealth taxes, and your rights to privacy can be seized through hate speech bills like this one, and your rights to free speech can be curtailed to the point where in some European countries you can be fined or jailed for a hate crime, how exactly are you free? The state can change laws at any time without asking for permission from citizens. The state can criminalize behavior that wasn't previously a crime. They can raise your taxes at any time and introduce new taxes, all without your consent, and if you don't pay the new taxes, you could go to jail. And by the way, To leftists who cheer on big tech censorship of their political opponents and use the argument they're a private company, they can do what they want, and at the same time they're all about a private bakery being forced to bake a cake, well, what about a situation where a private company is forced by the government to hand over the user data of an individual? In that case, the private company can't do what they want. Of course, most leftists won't care because the government is coming after people who are accused of hate speech, and just like in the online world, that's mostly people on the right and its conservatives, which is to say people who leftists mostly disagree with. But the left should also be against this kind of overreach because power of this nature is addictive. Censorship is addictive to authoritarians, and what's classified as hate speech today will only broaden tomorrow, and eventually it'll begin to encroach upon those on the left. It will encompass speech on the left as well. But at the moment, many of them just can't see that.